It started with roses, not mine, hers. I was tending to the landscaping near the wrought iron gate of my property, admiring how the climbing ivy had finally woven around the old stone pillars, when I heard the unmistakable sound of heels on gravel. That click-clack rhythm always meant one thing in Willow Creek: Marlene Whitaker was coming. She appeared like a storm cloud in yoga pants and a pastel cashmere shawl, her platinum bob immobile as she marched to my gate. My gate? She didn't smile. Marlene Whitaker, president of the Willow Creek HOA, had the smile of a predator mid-meal. "Mr. Carter," she said, adjusting oversized sunglasses that seemed glued to her face, "we need to talk about your presence here." I blinked, thinking she might have noticed the birds nesting in my oak tree or wanted to gripe about the koi pond I installed last spring. But no, Marlene's complaint was stranger. "You've become too visible," she added, tilting her head like a disappointed therapist. "Your property borders our community, and I've received multiple complaints about your home's presentation." Presentation? I glanced at my house: custom stonework, dark cedar siding, restored vintage lanterns from Vermont. Not a tacky lawn ornament in sight. "What's the issue?" I asked. "Firstly," she said, counting on manicured fingers, "your grill is visible from our side road. Secondly, you played music past 8 p.m. last Wednesday. And third," she leaned in like she was spilling a state secret, "that pool of yours is provocative." I blinked. "My pool?" "Yes, it's visible. You leave your gate open sometimes. It sets a tone. People see the deck chairs, the lights, the wine glasses. That's called living," I cut in, stifling a laugh. "And for the record, Marlene, this property isn't part of Willow Creek HOA. I don't answer to you." She stared like I'd sworn in a cathedral. "That's debatable," she said, snapping a photo of my gate with her phone. "We'll follow up." With that, she turned and left. I watched her go, a mix of amusement and unease settling in. It wasn't her words, it was her tone, her certainty, her possessiveness, as if my home, my sanctuary, was hers to control. I didn't know it yet, but that encounter was the spark. What followed was the blaze. It started with the water. One morning, I walked to my pool with coffee and noticed a faint cloudiness, like someone had jumped in after rolling in dirt. My filtration system, top tier, self-cleaning, had never failed. I chalked it up to pollen, maybe a chemical glitch. Tests showed everything normal. Too normal. Then, 2 days later, my lounge chairs were misaligned, shifted slightly, as if someone had adjusted them for the perfect tan. One was damp. Another had a pink lip balm stain on the cushion. I don't wear lip balm. I live alone. I didn't think trespass at first. Denial kicked in. Maybe wind. Maybe raccoons had a flair for decor. But then I found the glass, a tall-stemmed wine glass by the hot tub with a faint lip print. Not mine, not recent, not even my brand. I checked my camera feed and froze. The file for that night was gone. Not corrupted, deleted. No backup, no trace. I hadn't done it, and my system doesn't erase unless commanded. Unease turned to paranoia. I spent the day inspecting my security setup like a crime scene. Wires intact, router untouched, motion sensors online. But the data was gone. That night, I sat in my office with a whiskey, running a full system scan. That's when I found it. A foreign MAC address had connected to my network 3 times that week, each at midnight. Brief connections, just long enough to access something. The signal peaked near my eastern property line. There, behind a lilac bush, I found a fake landscaping rock hiding a Wi-Fi repeater, plug-and-play, signal booster, and likely a backdoor into my network. It was clever, not some kid's prank. I called my buddy Tom Reed, a cybersecurity expert. He laughed. "You got breached, man. Someone hacked your system, deleted files, maybe set it to erase footage on demand. This is pro-level." Then I remembered Marlene's smug remark: "My son handles network security, works with high-profile clients." My blood ran cold. The puzzle clicked into place. Someone was using my pool repeatedly, bold enough to move things, leave traces, and erase only what they couldn't hide. They weren't sneaking like thieves, they moved like they belonged. This wasn't just an HOA busybody flexing. It was organized, calculated, personal. I was seeing the tip of something bigger. By Thursday, I had a plan. I spent 2 nights rigging my property with a separate security system, wired, offline cameras tucked into garden corners and roof trim, invisible to tech-savvy intruders. No Wi-Fi, no remote access, just raw footage on SD cards. I placed one above the pool, another by the gate, and one on the guest house balcony. When the logs were intact the next morning, I knew I had a shot. That evening, I staged a ruse. I loaded a suitcase into my Audi, left the garage open long enough to be seen, and posted an old vacation photo on Instagram, captioned, "Finally escaping, with geolocation disabled." I turned off most house lights, leaving a few on random timers. To the world, I was lounging in Bermuda. In reality, I was parked in the woods behind my property, watching a monitor in my SUV. Just after sunset, the side gate creaked open. People streamed in, not sneaking, but strolling like invited guests. Some carried folding chairs. A man brought a Bluetooth speaker. Someone rolled a cooler. Then came Marlene, strutting in a white sundress and wedges, like it was her summer home. She raised a glass, my Prosecco, and shouted, "All right, everyone, keep it chill. We're not technically supposed to be here, but he's never around on weekends. It's like a community pool now, minus the chlorine stink." Laughter, cheers, music. They lit citronella candles. My monogram towels were passed around like resort linens. A guy grilled burgers on my barbecue. A woman opened my outdoor fridge, grabbing a San Pellegrino. I watched, stunned, as 30 strangers claimed my sanctuary. It was surreal, like a sitcom heist. Someone asked Marlene about cameras. "Taken care of," she winked. "My son's a genius. If anything shows up, it won't for long." Shock turned to rage, righteous, burning fury. They weren't just trespassing. They were mocking me, rewriting reality to suit their whims. I had everything I needed: evidence, witnesses, time-stamped proof. My pool wasn't a luxury anymore, it was a crime scene. I called the Montrose County Sheriff's Department, voice steady. I explained I had intruders on my private property, with live video of a large group partying without permission. The dispatcher didn't hesitate. "We'll send units right away, sir." "Are you in danger?" "Not yet," I said, "but I'd like to keep it that way." 15 minutes later, 2 squad cars rolled up the access road. I waved them down from my SUV. When the officer saw my monitor, cocktail-fueled chaos in real time, he nodded sharply and radioed a clipped command. The raid was swift and cinematic, like a blend of cops and HOA drama. Spotlights flared. Officers strode through the gate the partygoers had used. Music cut mid-beat. A man dropped a cup into the pool. Someone screamed. A woman wrapped herself in my guest towel like she'd been caught cheating. Marlene stood before the officers, indignant, as if they answered to her. "Excuse me, this is a private neighborhood event. This man, this antisocial loner, never uses the pool. We've been maintaining it unofficially. It's about community." A deputy replied calmly, "Ma'am, you're not authorized to be here. This isn't HOA land. This estate is privately owned, not under your jurisdiction." "But I'm the HOA president," she barked. "He left it abandoned. It's an implied easement." "Ma'am, step aside." The deputies swept the scene, documenting everything. They found the bent gate lock, the hidden Wi-Fi repeater, and a laminated HOA pool rules sheet pinned to my fence. "Recognize this?" an officer asked, holding up a key card I'd never seen. "I do now," I said. "That's not mine. Someone's duplicating my gate keys." Marlene's face soured. She didn't run or hide, she doubled down. "This is absurd. I've done nothing wrong. This man's been negligent with his property. We were keeping it usable, pleasant." Another officer cut in. "Ma'am, we have surveillance, multiple trespassing events, probable tampering with security systems, and property damage reports. You're being detained for questioning. When the cuffs clicked, the crowd realized this wasn't a mix-up, it was a criminal investigation. Some guests tried to slip away. One guy offered me $20 for the trouble, like he was late returning a rental. I stared until he muttered and left. The deputies took statements. A few partygoers admitted Marlene claimed the owner was never around, and she had keys via HOA oversight, a lie she'd sold so well. Some believed it. As Marlene was led to the cruiser, she glared at me. You'll regret this. You think you're safe with your money and fences? I raised a brow. No, Marlene. I'm safe because this is my property, and you forgot how laws work. She didn't respond. I stood as cruiser lights painted my lawn red and blue, wondering how I'd gone from homeowner to crime scene whistleblower in a week. But I wasn't mad, I was just getting started. Court isn't like TV. It's slow, procedural, buried in paperwork and affidavits. My attorney, Laura Bennett, thrived on cases like this. Her heels clicked like gunfire on courthouse marble, and she called opposing counsel darling before dismantling their motions with a smile. Marlene showed up to arraignment like it was a PDA meeting, in a beige pantsuit, her signature scowl perfected from years of glaring at potlucks. The charges were heavy: criminal trespass, unlawful assembly, unauthorized duplication of security devices, and, thanks to the repeater and erased footage, electronic interference with private security infrastructure. We also filed a civil suit for property damage, unauthorized use, and emotional distress. Marlene wasn't just HOA royalty, she faced a criminal record. The evidence hit like a sledgehammer: full video surveillance, timelines, access logs, expert testimony from Tom confirming the network breach, and statements from her guests admitting they thought Marlene had legal claim to the pool. Then came the bombshell. An HOA board member, Ellen Hayes, flipped. She testified Marlene bypassed bylaws, faked a community pool agreement, and urged her to relax the rules for the neighborhood's good. Ellen had emails, damning chains. Marlene's composure cracked with each exhibit. Her defense scrambled. She thought the property was unoccupied, believed it was an abandoned easement, a misunderstanding from poor communication. Laura approached the bench, dropping a screenshot, Marlene raising a glass on my pool deck, saying, "It's a community pool now." Even the bailiff snorted. I took the stand briefly, telling the judge I sought accountability, not vengeance. I described watching strangers drink my wine, eat my food, lounge in my chairs, smirking as they claimed my home. I wasn't angry they trespassed, I said. I was angry they felt entitled to it. The judge didn't deliberate long. Marlene got 6 months probation, 150 hours of community service, and a $25,000 fine. The HOA, now under city scrutiny for mismanagement, was ordered to pay me $125,000 for repairs, legal fees, and emotional distress. Marlene's empire crumbled. The board voted her out unanimously a week later. She tried to appeal, but her lawyer bailed. Word spreads when your HOA turns on you. I framed the ruling's first page, hanging it in my office above the pool monitor. It felt right. For the first time in weeks, I slept with the doors unlocked, not from carelessness, but confidence. Justice doesn't always roar. Sometimes it settles like fog, unnoticed until it's everywhere. Marlene didn't go to jail, but her reputation was sentenced to life. She was stripped as HOA president, her name erased from documents, her meeting access revoked. She'd show up anyway, clutching a worn clipboard, only to be escorted out by the new chair, Ellen. Ellen, once timid, became a neighborhood hero. She ditched obsessive lawn checks and curtain color rules. Neighbors started waving again, but not to Marlene. They crossed the street to avoid her. Her newsletters, once passive-aggressive staples, vanished. Her events were canceled, no questions asked. Kids called her the pool, which teens filmed TikToks mocking her finger-wagging near her lawn. Her son, the tech genius, wasn't spared. Tampering with security infrastructure cost him his government contract job, pending investigation. His LinkedIn boasted ethical hacking ironic. The HOA board distanced itself, one member sending me an anonymous note. "You did what we couldn't." The kingdom needed toppling. Some partygoers sent half-hearted apologies. Ron, the burger grilling guy, offered to mow my lawn for a month. I declined. I fortified my fence, installed encrypted cloud backup cameras, and added a motion-triggered speaker that plays me clearing my throat if anyone lingers near the gate. The best touch, a glossy black sign by the gate, bold letters, private property. No HOA. No trespassing. Next unauthorized pool party gets catered by law enforcement. Joggers snap photos. A couple knocked to say, "Funniest damn thing we've seen all month." I offered them a soda. This wasn't just about trespass, it was about boundaries, drawn with fences and resolve. Marlene tried to make my backyard a community hangout. She built her own downfall instead. Summer arrived early, and with it, the Justice Barbecue. I didn't plan it as symbolic, just a real party, no gate-crashing raccoons in flip-flops. I sent handwritten invites to non-trespassing neighbors, the responding officers, and Laura, who RSVP'd. I'm in for brisket and revenge. The sky was flawless blue. My backyard, once a stage for uninvited mojitos, glowed with string lights, live jazz, and 3 grills manned by Smoke Kings, a local barbecue team. Guests brought pies, coolers, chairs. It was casual but electric, the vibe of a neighborhood agreeing, this had to happen. Officer Martinez, who cuffed Marlene, approached with a beer and ribs. "Nice upgrade," he said, eyeing the crowd. "Less yelling this time." We laughed. Ellen gave a toast, raising a soda can. To Evan Carter, for reminding us property rights exist and hosting the first event that didn't require fine threats. Cheers erupted. Someone tried a "No More Marlene's" chant, but it became a debate over pie flavors. A kid, maybe 12, approached near the grill, holding a hot dog like a relic. "Are you the guy who took down the HOA lady?" I nodded. "That's me." He grinned. "Cool. You're like Batman." My ribs nearly hit the coals. Laura raised champagne later. "You could write a book, you know." I shrugged. "Maybe. Call it 50 Shades of Entitled." I choked on my drink. Guests stayed past sunset, laughing, connecting, something Marlene's reign had stifled. The unexpected moment came as I carried empty glasses to the kitchen. Beyond the hedges, just past the property line, stood Marlene. Not trespassing, just watching. No clipboard, no sundress, no fake authority. Our eyes met. She didn't scowl or sneer. She turned and walked away, silent. I set the tray down, strolling the yard. Candles flickered, pool lights danced on the water. The No HOA sign gleamed like a sarcastic beacon. I popped a bottle of premium champagne on the deck, foam hissing like victory. I raised a glass to the treetops. To boundaries, I whispered, "And never leaving your gate unlocked in Willow Creek." A neighbor's dog barked approval. The night and the saga closed. Marlene's reign was over, her influence erased, and my home was mine again, secured by justice and a community that learned to stand firm.